Good morning, everyone. Excuse my head in the road there. Welcome to my channel today. My name is Laura Stranks and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to show you how to do this triple balcony card, it's called. Just a couple of things before I start. I have a Facebook page called Cards by Laura. You're welcome to follow that page along. There's lots of cards in there that I do at my workshops and classes. I also have a Facebook group called Laura's Craft Room Tips and Tutorials. If you wish to join that group, which you will need to if you're wanting the PDFs for these cards and many, many more, there's lots of tutorials in there in the Files tab. There are two questions if you wish to join that group. One is why you wish to join, and also that you agree to the rules. There are a few tabs along the top just up under the banner. One is the Files tab, that's where all the PDFs are stored. And there's a Featured tab, which is where I pin any important posts or my live videos go in there as well. There's a Photos tab where all the ladies that post their cards, the photos of the cards will go in there. Lots of inspiration in there. It's not exclusive to Stampin' Up!, so you're welcome to join, any of you. My channel, if you're watching for the first time today, it's called Creative Gems, and love you to subscribe. Give me the thumbs up if you like what I do. That is all the business side. I'll put that aside. That's the boring bit. This is the card we're going to do. As I mentioned, it can fold flat to a standard size card like so, or this way, either way. Bend that a little bit. And that's just the inside. So it looks like a standard card, but it's got these pieces that stand up, as they're called a balcony card. So we shall get started. These are the pieces you will need, and I've simplified it down so that you can cut all these pieces, especially if you've got a paper that is you want all lined up with the pattern, and it's all cut in one piece instead of cutting all little pieces to start with. So I'll go through the pieces with you. My main base, and I'm doing a Christmas one. This is the one that we did for my fun fold class. The girls did that one. This one here is a Christmas card. My base is 8 inches by 5 3/4, which is in the mossy meadow. And then we've got, on this one here, it was basic white, but I'm using vanilla on the card today because it goes nicely with the paper I've chosen. It is 5 5/8 by 3 7/8, and there's two of those. One will be for the front, and this one here, which I've already decorated, I've sponged around the edges and I've put a little detail on there. It's going that way in the card. Both of those measure 5 5/8 by 3 7/8. That's those two. My DSP for that front piece, which is underneath all the balcony pieces, it's 5 1/2 by 3 3/4. My strips, and I've done all of these next three in the order that before you have them cut. So this one will be the same as your base colour, which is the black on that one there. It is 5 3/4 by 4 1/2, and I've got a little template that I've drawn up to show you how to cut. And then the mats for that, which on this one are white, and here it's very vanilla. It's 4 1/8 by 5 1/8, and then the DSP is 3 3/4 by 4 1/2. Now, if you do a DSP, this one doesn't matter because it's not directional. The height, the 3 3/4 will be the height that the 3 3/4, which is this way, is the height. So your pattern should run landscape across the 4 1/2 that way. So if you're doing a directional paper, make sure it runs with the short side and landscape cutting. And then some embellishments to decorate. So you can either take a screenshot of that, but the measurements will be in the description box of my video, and also the PDF is in my Laura's Craft Room Tips and Tutorials group for the full video. You can probably follow along. I'll just get a mouthful of water, as I normally end up doing. So we shall get started, and we'll do the scoring bit first. There's only a couple of little bits of scoring. This one here, we're going to score, and it's 8 inches long, so we're just going to score it at 4 inches. Just make sure I'm in view there. That's just in half for your base at 4 inches. Now we shall score this, and I'll show you the little templates I did. This is the balcony strips. So first of all, I'm going to score, and they're even scoring. I'm going to score at 7/8 and 1 3/4, and then rotate it and do 7/8 and 1 3/4. So that is we'll put that 2 aside there for the card. Leave those aside for a minute. The balcony strips are my green one. It's the same colour as your base. So with the short side at the top here, no, sorry, beg your pardon, we want the long side. I better do this correctly. With the long side, yes. So we want 7/8, which I'll go to this side of my trimmer because it's easier. No, we won't, otherwise I might confuse you. We'll go 7/8 here. We're doing a rotation anyway. So we've got 7/8. I'm going by this here, and 1 3/4, which is there. This saves you scoring all the little bits by themselves. 7/8 again, and 1 3/4. So that's the scoring, and then you're going to cut on the short side. So this is the short side. We're going to go 1 1/2 into 3 1 1/2 inch strips. So we've got one there and another one there, which gives you 3 lots of 1 1/2. And then you'll see these go that way and that way to create your balcony piece. So they'll all end up like that. I'll just fold those for now. I'll burnish them in a minute. They're all the same size. So you've got the mountain fold in the centre and the valley fold to the outside. So you've got 3 like so. All the same. You put those aside. And now we shall cut the mats. And there's no scoring on this, it's just cutting. And this is the other piece. It measures 4 1/8 by 5 1/8, which is that one there. And I'm going to, which way did we go first? Short side at the top. We're going to cut it into 3 1 3/8 inch. So that's this one here. 3 1 and 1 3/8 it is. Cut it into 3 1 3/8 and 1 3/8. So that gives you 3 pieces the same size, like so. Then we're going with the long side at the top, and there we need 3 3/4 inch pieces, and then you'll be left with 2 1/8, which will be your centerpiece. It would be 2 3/4 on this side and 2 3/4 on this side, but it doesn't really matter. It's just a mat. So if you cut the 4 first, you should end up with 2 1/8 inch piece. But I would cut these separate. 3/4 you want 4 of. 3/4. If you didn't want the mat, you could just put straight DSP here instead of the mats underneath. 1 2 3 4, and this should be 2 1/8, which is correct. That's 2 1/8. So you've got 4 little ones 3 times and 1 big one. We'll just leave those there. We'll go again the same. I didn't do these beforehand because I wanted to show you how it all works. 3/4. Try to be exact with your cutting so you don't end up with the wrong size. And as I said before, you could use these as DSP if you don't want a mat behind it. Just substitute it for your DSP and then you wouldn't have the top layer on. You'd just have the DSP straight. That's, oh, I cut one too many. That's chapping away. I shall just get another piece for this last one. We don't need that one. I'll just get a piece of vanilla. Cutting away madly and forgot. We'll just cut one to the correct size. So this was, I only need 1 3/8 wide. This is not what you would normally do. 1 3/8 there. And I just need one piece at 2 1/8. I've got the 4 there, 2 1/8. We'll just pretend that's the last one of that. Now concentrate, Laura. So that's the middle one. Those are spare. And we'll go again with the last one. And we just need 4 at 3/4. That's how you fix it if you do a mistake. It's only because I was talking. Normally I sit here and craft very quietly by myself. Sometimes I have music on, but not very often, because I like nice and quiet crafting. And that's it. And then 2 1/8 is the last one. We got that one right. So they're your mats. Put all those aside. And then the last piece, that's my DSP for the backing. Goes in behind the balconies. And this is my DSP piece. And it's pretty much the same as what we just did, except we're going to do it with the 2 5/8 inch pieces first, and it will be a 2 inch piece in the middle. So you are going to cut. Now if this is directional, which mine isn't, but I'll show you, you need to keep it in order as you do it. So we're going to cut this first this way, 1 1/4, this way, 1 1/4, and 1 1/4. So that's 3 1 1/4 inch strips. Keep those in order. And then we've got 5/8. These are tiny pieces. 1 and a 5/8 again. Make sure we get this one right. And to keep them in order with this, you will need to cut the larger one in the middle, and it's 2 inches long. So you'll do a 2 inch next. With the mats, it doesn't matter. And 5/8, and you'll end up with a 5/8. So you've got 2 5/8 inch ones. So your pattern's all the same still, and I'm going to put those aside over there in the order that I, just making sure. These wouldn't matter for me because it's not really a pattern that needs to be lined up. But if yours is, that's what you will do. So you've got 5/8. The longest part of this is sticking all the pieces together. 5/8, 2, 1, 2, a 2 inch piece, and a 5/8 twice, which is half of that piece that's left. So we've got that one there, and those two. And the last one, I made the girls do these all from scratch as well. Our fun fold class that we do, it's basically for them to learn how to do, they do all their own scoring. And this one they'll be doing a bit of cutting because they need to learn how to cut these bigger pieces. If I do it all for them, they're not going to learn. We only have 5 ladies at the fun fold class, sometimes 6, mostly 5, and they all learn how to do these fun folds. So they're my pieces. That's all we need the trimmer for, and I'll keep all those in order. Don't need that anymore. I shall put this piece, I'll leave the middle inside till last. This one here is going on the front. We'll get to those in a minute. It's a shame to cover this piece, but I wanted a bit of green showing on the underside of the front. So I'll just put some glue on here. This is the underneath. I was going to put a green, these pieces here as a green pattern, but it was too much green with the underside piece green. It was, you couldn't see the actual pattern properly. So this has got just a 1/16 border all the way around. Don't pick those up yet. And then this will go straight on here. You need to do this piece before you do all those little pieces on your balconies. It's got to go down first. So, and it's got another little 1/16 border all the way around. Normally I do an 1/8, but for this one I did the 16th because I wanted to go right to the edge with my balconies as well. Excuse me. So we'll put that aside for a sec and we can do these. I'll do the mats onto the DSP first. This is going to take a little while, but I'll try and be quick. With liquid glue it shouldn't be too bad. And I'll keep them in order again. It's probably a good idea not to use directional paper, but if that's what you want to do, then that's fine. I'm keeping them in order over this side. Mine don't matter if they get out of order, they're not really directional. Even this pattern on the back's not directional. Sorry for taking so long to do this bit. If you've got time to go and get yourself a cuppa, by the time you get back I should be done. If I thought about it, I could have done a replica one and had all these glued down, but then I would have had to make another card, which I didn't really want to do. I think I've got enough Christmas cards to last for a few years. It's not too long a job once you get all of that's my bottom layer. Another lot of these. Trying to quickly glue them. This is a good way of telling whether you've cut them correctly too. It's quite an effective card so long as you get all your pieces cut correctly. A little bit of fiddling around, but I don't mind doing a fiddly card. I'm sure a lot of you like the finished result as well. I've been a demonstrator for over 8 years, just to tell you a little bit about myself. Love what I do. I started out just buying Stampin' Up for myself, just to play around with and make some cards, and then I did go to classes, a few different places for classes, and I got up the confidence to hold a class by myself at my home here. I've got a really big back area out the back that I can set up for classes. It holds, we've had up to 15 people, but comfortably 12, especially if it's all stamped and cut for them and they don't have to get up and down to stamp and cut. It's quite comfortable just to sit around at a table and craft away. And then the rest is history. I've been doing classes ever since. I'm up at Silver Elite level at the moment. Hope to stay there for a little while. I've got a really good team. I think I've got about 8 or 9 in my team at the moment. And going to on stage next year, 2025, is in Brisbane. So looking forward to that. My friend and I went last year to Melbourne, and it was her first time. Loved every minute of it. And this year we were so excited when we heard it was Brisbane, because that's my home state. And we're going again this year, and so is there's 6 of us all together. 5 of my team are going, and myself. So we've got a nice little group to go. We're organising some shirts so that we all have a shirt. My Facebook group, that it's a private group with my team, it's called Creative Gems as well. Now just stop that story for a sec. I'm going to put these onto these now. Hopefully it won't take too long. This is the boring bit, gluing everything down. Yes, and we're having a little meeting in a couple of weeks' time, because I think all bar one of the ladies has never been to an on stage before. So I'm just going to fill them in on a few things before we go, to do with swaps and what happens at the event and all sorts of things, just to make them feel a little bit more comfortable before we get there, so that they're not a bit overwhelmed with it all. I know I keep saying it's such a fun event. It's worth going, so I'm so glad that all the ladies have decided to come. It was quite surprising, actually. The event filled up here in Brisbane in 2 days. I got on, well, I was lucky. I got on early Wednesday morning, I think it was. Because of my level, I was allowed on an hour earlier than the others. And I got on it, okay, not thinking that it was going to fill up. And then I had a class that morning, and a lady rang me. I hadn't quite started my class. She was going on at 9 o'clock, and she rang me on her mobile, or on my mobile from hers. She said, "Oh, I'm stuck, Laura. I don't know what to do. I can't register. I don't know where I'm going." So I talked her through that, and she got on. And then a couple of ladies messaged me just after 9 and said, it's not letting me register on my mobile. And I said, well, I usually do mine on my laptop. I very rarely do anything on my mobile. I do a bit of stuff on my iPad, but not on my mobile. It just seems different. It doesn't allow you to go wherever you want to go. So I said to them, you'll be fine, you'll get in. Just wait until you get home and do it on your laptop. And they all got through on their laptop, thank goodness, because then in my big group, a lady put up the next day. She was from America, and she was going to be out here when on stage was on, and that she tried to register. This was, I think, Thursday afternoon, the next day, and she couldn't get it. It came back that it was fully booked, so she couldn't get on. So then I had a lovely message from my DDM, Demonstrator Development Manager, Emma. She had messaged me congratulating me on my level achievements, team building, sales, and a couple of those things. And I asked her, I said, do you know, is Brisbane fully booked? And she said, yes, it is. So she said they were trying to get more seating, but it was up to the venue whether they could get any more. Maybe they're limited to how many seats they can put out. So I'm afraid another friend of mine, where I go to her classes, I thought she had already done it on the Wednesday when she was after she left here, and she missed out. So she's on a waiting list, but Emma was saying you're not sure if you'll get through on a waiting list. So while I was chatting away, that didn't take too long. These are all done. Now, these ones here, they're going to go level with the outside of your card and level with the bottom on both sides there. This one will be at the top. Make sure you've kept yours in order. And then I'm just going to eyeball the center one, so it'll be in like so. And we can just put a little bit of glue on one side here. Line it up with, I'll move those two up. Line it up with this on the right on the side edge there. Bit of glue on my finger and level with the bottom. If I open this up, it's probably easier to see. So just a fraction inside that score line, and your mats will line up as well. And then line it up with the bottom. Give that a good press down. And then if you fold this one across, put glue on this one here. Oops, hold it up and then hold it across like that. And if you just close it down, making sure it's level with the bottom, it will fit perfectly across to the other side. So when you want to put your card in the envelope, it's just a matter of pushing it across. Doing more talking than normal. So that's the bottom one. Do the top one next, because then you can space your center one in the middle. If you do the outside ones first. So this one's going up the top here. Excuse my head if it's in the road. So that one's going up there. Pull that across. Open that one down. And then close it off. Just make sure it's level with the top as well. Give that a good press down. They will sit up like so. And then I'm just going to eyeball this center one to get it in the middle of the two. I think about there is about right. Looks about right, doesn't have to be spot on. I think move it up a little bit. That's the beauty of liquid glue. You can move it where you need to. And then fold this one back. And how easy is that? The main part is gluing all those bits down. But if you cut the one main piece first and then cut it all into pieces, I think it's much easier rather than cutting all individual little pieces, hoping you get them the right size. At least they're consistent with the cross cuts. So that's the front. How pretty is that? Love, love, love that. I could have done a different colour matte. I should have done gold mattes, but I'd already decided on the vanilla. So I've got a little bit of decoration, not much. I'll show you the stamp sets that I used. I've got this little Have a Very Merry Christmas. That's out of this Sentimental Wishes. This little piece is from the Golden Greenery. It's die cut out of the paper itself. And that's what this paper is all from. Seasons of Green and Gold, it's called, the paper. And I've got some embellishments there to put on as well. So I'm just going to pop this piece up on dimensionals. We've got the inside to do as well. Just to glue it down. And as you all know, if you've watched me before, I love my dimensionals. So we make sure it sits up nicely. Nothing worse than doing a really nice card and your part that should have sat up is a bit wobbly because you haven't put enough at the back. I'm just going to pop this one. Actually, I might, no, I think I'll leave it at the top. I was thought of putting it in the centre. Usually my greeting goes above everything else. Now when you do it, make sure it's not hanging over. You can hang over one side but not both sides, because you can flatten it that way and it doesn't matter if it's hanging over here. Mine's just level with the edge there. Or if you want to flatten it this way, it won't matter if it's hanging over this side. You can extend your whatever you're doing here, but just make sure one side, and it would have to be consistent, that it's if you're hanging over, hang over on one side only, all three balconies. This one here is just going across here, and I'll just put a little bit of glue on the top and the bottom, not in the center. Go that way, and a little bit up the top. Always forget on camera and end up off the camera. I'm just putting that across there with it flat. We'll go down like that. Like so. You can put more decoration if you need to. Doesn't matter if you put the two together. When you push it down, it will still hold. That's that one. We shall put this other panel on the inside, which is that one there. That the die cut piece there, I've just cut out of old olive cardstock, and there are dies that just cut out those pieces. And then I just used my blending brush and blended around the edges just to make a little bit of a feature. And that is that. And we've got a few embellishments here. What I'm using is the gold ones from Adhesive Back Metallic Gems. Got a few little gold ones still there. I know I've used lots of the gold. I must get in and use the other colours. I'll just put a couple up here. Go right down here. I'll put one at the bottom. And that will be enough. And that is my card for today. I hope you enjoyed that. I think it's probably, that centre one could have been up a fraction, but it's not too bad. That's how it was meant to be. I hope you liked that card and you'll give it a go. It's not difficult to do. I will put my little templates, I'll take photos of those and I'll put them into the PDF so you can see where to cut your pieces. I've got it all written on there for you. And that's it from me this week. Have a lovely week, and I shall catch you all again next Monday at 9 AM. Bye for now.